Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Lovely to have you here for these conversations. We happen to be on location at La Casita Bar, Restaurant and Lounge, a lovely spot in Naguru along Intindatu Road. And I'm so excited to hear from my guest today. She is so passionate about women. She is the founder of Kona, or Kona, if you think about the song that we know, which is a jewelry and fashion line, should I say.
Yeah.
And then she's also the founder of B
Marketing.
which is essentially your marketing and business coach.
Yes.
And then she's also the president of EO Uganda, which is about entrepreneurs, an international entrepreneurs organization, I
Yes.
guess. Yes,
Yes,
I
yes.
do have Bhavya Kalsi
Yes.
joining me on Crystal One-on-One. Hello.
Thank you so much.
Hello, hello, hello.
And it's a surreal moment because I think our paths have crossed many times. When I first moved to Uganda for the second time and put my roots down, you were what I used to listen to on Sanyu.
Oh, really? On radio voice back in the day, huh?
I'm talking 2013, 14, somewhere there.
I was on radio for a long time.
Right.
I'm still on radio, but I was on radio for
Yeah,
a
but I
very,
remember
very
the
long
drive
time.
show, and you would like log in, and this is the voice I heard. So
Yes, it
yeah,
is.
enjoying the surreal moment.
Well, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having
I
me.
was just saying to you, I love your hair. I love your hair, and that started us off on a very interesting conversation. Because what is becoming very clear to me is you're kind of carving your own path
Absolutely.
and owning who you are.
Absolutely.
And I love to see it.
Thank you so much. It's, you know what? I think certain moments get thrusted upon us. So I started growing at 16, like I was telling you.
It's really young.
Right. And I kept coloring it. And you know, when you grow up in the Indian culture, long black hair, and we all know how people love the long black hair. Yeah, like exactly. And so does everyone else. And it's just it became a point where I became slave to the fact that I have to go color my roots. I was doing it
Okay.
every 10 days.
Oh no.
Because the roots go white, right? And now I make a lot of
Every
content.
10 days?
Yeah, because my hair grows super fast. So, okay, I know girls, I know you must be saying like, hair grows fast, what's the problem?
No, I mean, it's a blessing, but that makes it a challenge
Yes,
then.
every 10 days. At least touch up the roots because, you know, like you're in fashion, you go places, you want to look put together because you are the brand.
Yes, yes.
And then I still make a lot of content. I'm on Instagram, you know, educating, and I'm doing those things. And everything said and done, I'm telling you, doesn't matter how successful a woman is, our outside helps us feel better
Yes.
and
How
show
we
up more
present
confidently.
ourselves, yes.
When I'm in the Ugandan community, I'm usually told, girl, I love your hair, and I love that.
I know, it's gorgeous.
So, and at the same time, what it has helped me do is question the fact that who defines what is beautiful? Who defines whether I'm beautiful or not? And is my hair my identity?
Because you're talking more than 20 years then of you know,
Yep.
coloring your hair every 10 days.
No, initially it was less.
Okay.
But as I started aging towards the last 2 years,
It really
2
started.
weeks. 2 weeks minimum.
I mean, I have a lot of streaks.
I think that she
and,
looks stunning, guys. But yeah.
Quite a lot. And my hairdresser is always like, oh, you know, your highlights are showing. And I'm like, I don't mind my highlights. I actually really like them.
Yeah.
But it's always that perception, like, you need to cover them. You need to hide them.
And I hear you, and I think the game changer is the day we decide that, you know what, this is working for me. And I promise you, the day I owned it after the first 6 months. But if you think about it, half the time when we're going through something, there are these voices in our head. It could be your parents, your family, society, loved one, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, child, whatever. There is always that voice in your head. And to differentiate what's your voice, because they say like, oh, what will they say? But who are they?
Exactly. It's always what will they say.
But who are they? Define it.
But they're not living your life for you.
They're not putting
right?
food on your table. They're not living your life. And guess what? They are not putting so much chemicals in their body.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with if I'm trying to stay healthy? So you can go to the gym, but I can't stop coloring my hair because it's healthier. And I'll tell you one thing, my hair has come back healthier, for
yes,
sure.
Yes. You said you came to Uganda first and then came back and settled. When was the first time you came to Uganda?
So, quick story, my father came here in the early 90s. Family followed. I was left behind because I was still in college.
Ah.
So I was finishing up uni at that time, and I think I was about 20 or something when I came here.
Okay.
And we're talking 2000, guys. Mba, Uganda. I am from Uganda officially. So I was here, my first job was here, learned to drive here, everything was here. All my firsts were here. Anyways, so did all of that, moved to Dubai, moved back to India for my master's. I mean, education-wise, things, you know, back 20 years ago, education-wise, there was limitations of the courses you had and stuff.
And what was available.
Yeah.
Even now we have so much online.
Correct. So went back to India, did my master's in communication and marketing, and went and worked in Dubai for a few years.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you've been in communication and marketing all these years?
Pretty much.
Okay. Is that what you wanted to do when you were younger?
Yes.
Yeah?
Since I'm 16.
Oh, very clear.
I was like, I'm going to be a creative director of a big agency. Truth is, when I came back, like when we were in Dubai, I was with my partner, and then we moved back because both our families were here. And believe it or not, I helped launch Airtel in Uganda. I was the lead creative working with the then Moringa Ogilvy. Shout out to the team, love them. And it was a brilliant 2 years that I spent, but I was already a mom of one.
Okay, at
And
that
then
point.
At point, there was also the family business, and you know, when you come from some of the business where there's some businesses, you're like, do you really want a job? And
So
I
it
stuck
was
my
pulling
guns.
you in different directions?
Not really. I was sticking to my guns because I knew what I wanted. But when I was planning and hoping for a second child, I realized that a field like advertising is very demanding. You know, when you're in media,
Yes,
the
yes,
hours, the
absolutely.
thing. And I made my own priorities, and I said, but I want to do something more.
Okay.
And I want to be in control of my time. And second baby was coming, and I quit working for other people. And I went back home, rebellious that I am. I decided to start a business
Okay.
from my garage after giving birth, I think within the first month.
Wow.
Because I realized I can't sit at home.
Yes.
I will drive the other people mad.
This is a reality for many women. You must know yourself. Being a staying-at-home mom, not for you.
Oh my God, no. It's actually safer, not only for my children and my family, but it's better for my sanity. I think it's a lot to do with creativity. When there are some things inside of you, it's about knowing yourself. And I realize that I'm a much better mother when I'm able to channel some of my type A, I want to do this, I want to do this. Otherwise, I'll become that helicopter mom who's like making my kids go to 5,000 classes. And so now I'm like,
and
I'm
everything has to be the way it's supposed to be in the house.
Yeah.
And don't do this and don't do that.
So it was like, okay, I'm going to grow myself while I'm raising you.
Yeah.
So we started raising, and I think my kids have been the best teachers for life.
Okay.
So
Well, I can relate. I can relate. I don't think I could ever do the stay-at-home mom thing. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But there's interactions you have, conversations you have with other people that feed you.
Yes.
Especially if you're creative. So we need that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so growing up in India, most people, what we know about India, it's still very traditional in many, many ways. But you were very clear about what you wanted to do. How was your support system, your
You know,
family?
Crystal, the truth is, first of all, you were talking officially the largest population in the world.
Yes.
True. Now, when in East Africa, many times you meet many types of Indians. They're coming from different parts of India. Just like in Uganda, people come from different parts of the country, and their region, people from Kampala are probably more exposed versus somebody from Karmajong. Lack of exposure. I come from Bombay.
Okay.
So when I came, no offense, I felt like, are you serious? You brought me to a village? Because it was so like, because I was 19, guys, I love Uganda, Uganda is my home. But when you first land from a big city, you're like, this is, you don't have malls, you don't have anything, what is happening? I was 19 and I fell in love with it after that. It made me understand a whole different world. And now I've become so passionate about working with the Ugandan community. Like everything I do is Afro-Indian from my brand.
Yes, yes.
And it was launched to show that, my God, these two cultures have blended. I mean, you eat Rolex, like I say. The chapatis, face it, Indian. US saris to the wedding. But sometimes,
You know, I know you're saying chapatis are Indian, but man, they are part of who we are.
exactly. And then when you walk in here and, okay, guys, I'm going to call it, it's like, Muindi. Come on, we all know it happens.
Yeah.
And then, trust me, when I first came here, I was also told, put your head down. You know, you stick to what you know. But then I was like, But somebody has to make that effort to make the bridge.
Yes.
I have amazing friends from Uganda, and this is my life. I am in Uganda. So then
This is home.
This is home, and that's why I started with the creative side, where the fashion brand is Afro-Indian, inspired with kitenge and the Indian fabrics merging together. The jewelry is.
Can we talk about the jewelry? Can we talk about the jewelry?
So the jewelry is also inspired by Indian designs are very different. So the craftsmanship and
bigger.
yes, no, and more intricate. These are more cleaner. They are inspired from different things that I see around in Uganda and Africa.
Okay.
See, like the circles, like they remind me of the pots and like the designs and the, like just thought processes. Like getting creative. And let me tell you, Uganda has taught me what I didn't learn for 20 years in India. So much.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
Explain a bit about that. Like
Sure.
what? Like what?
Okay, so if you've lived abroad, guys, we live in the corporate world and things are easier,
Okay.
right? And if I believe you me, if I was somewhere else in the world, I mean, knowing me, maybe I would be an entrepreneur. I don't know because I haven't. After my 20s, I've almost been only in Uganda. I'm 43 today, so
Yeah.
23 years. But what happens is you would be working in a corporate world, there's an ease of things. Okay, Uganda gave us an opportunity to go, okay, this is not here. How can we make this happen? What can we do to grow ourselves? And the day in my head I decided, okay, this is home and I'm putting my roots down here. Every project I did was, how can we make it about the community? So Kona is a fashion brand by women for women. We
Yes.
do not hire men. Sorry. And most of
None
the
at
women,
all?
no.
Okay.
And most of the women are usually people, single income earners, single mothers. But that's a story I never tell.
Okay.
Because trade, not aid. Buy the products because you love them and not because it's saving your soul.
But a lot of corporations like to come with the other angle. You're making a difference. Support and you're making a difference.
I believe in put your money where your mouth is, then talk about it. And I've done it for 10 years,
Yeah.
so I can talk about it.
So that means you started doing your own agency out of your garage. That was first before
Kona was first.
Oh, so that's what you started out of your garage.
Yes.
Okay. So did you have any background in jewelry before
Nope.
that?
I'm just a designer,
Okay.
a creative, and it started with I want to do this, I want to do this. I probably am, safely I can say, the only Indian who's done Kampala Fashion Week 3 times.
3 times. Yeah.
The first one, and this is where I feel I was so welcomed. So I went and approached the fashion community, right? And I remember Gloria, Catherine and Sons, all these guys, and I was like, okay, I want to do this. And they're like, fine, we'll welcome you.
Okay.
And they paired me with Quesh. Shout out, I always give her a shout out because
Yeah.
you never forget your first.
So Quesh. Okay.
Quesh, and we collaborated. I was doing accessories and she was doing a fashion brand.
Yes.
That was 10 years ago. I met her and we did this collaboration and
But did you have a background though in fashion?
No, I just started making products that I was
Okay.
inspired by.
And all the jewelry is made here.
Not the
how
brass and stone.
Okay.
But with her, I'd done a whole cow horn collection.
Okay.
So everything was made here.
Okay.
So we change our collections, right? So we mix it up. Some of the brass work is done in East Africa. I want to eventually make more here.
I found out recently that we do not have someone who can cut gems in Uganda, in the whole of Uganda.
Forget that. We don't even have proper brass people.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain it, but the kilns where they make it, there's a certain technique that's required which makes the jewelry that you buy from Kenya heavier. If you buy the local,
Why do you think that is?
it's craftsmanship.
I mean, don't we have a market here for that?
Yes and no. So what happens is, it's there, it's beautiful designs, but it's a bit heavier.
Okay.
Now, I knew growing up in India what other craftsmanship can be. And since the brand is Afro-Indian, it is designed by me. It's African in that sense,
Yeah.
and it's inspired from Africa. But the craftsmanship for the quality I wanted,
Okay.
I went to India.
Yeah. Okay. You couldn't find that here. Okay. All right.
So
Understood.
don't compromise on quality, ever.
But you said like you get inspiration from
Everywhere.
everything.
Yes.
And okay. So does that mean you have like a notebook, a sketchbook where you're
No,
constantly coming
it's
up
about
with things? How does it work?
It's funny you say that. So I think if you're a creative, and I'll tell you, sometimes it's like it's phases. You're sitting down. So I went through this phase where post-COVID, Kona was really hard. You know, luckily we didn't do business. We didn't get rid of our staff. we managed to keep all the women and their homes running.
Wow.
Ups and downs were there. We all took salary cards. We came back.
Yeah.
But a huge shout out to the entire Kona team. We stuck it together. We survived COVID. And I started feeling like, am I really doing this? I'm so focused on marketing. What's happening? What's happening? January, I even put a post out there. It's like, guys, I'm thinking of closing Kona.
Oh, okay.
I felt like that.
Yes.
And they're like, no, do it. And then I realized that maybe it's me.
Okay.
And something just snapped. The wave of that channel of the motivation passed. And then we're back. And we have new clothing coming up, new styles coming up. There's so much more happening. And shout out to Mona, like collaborating with, Mona likes to say, I'm the first non-African muse she's had. And I was like, but girl, we've known each other for 10 years, it's fine. So yes, you know what? I have met the most beautiful women, most fantastic women. And they have helped me be a better person, a better friend, and you know, like just the collaboration. And that has taught me that every obstacle is in your mind.
Yeah.
Okay, I could have stayed at home and not build those bridges. And the newer generation, there's so many, you can see now they're more collaborative.
Yes.
The communities are getting together and their boundaries
We
that
have
are
an
being erased.
understanding of
Yes.
how we can complement each other.
Yes.
Okay. So in terms of starting to be, you know, a marketing and business coach, when did you're doing that with your sister?
Yes,
Okay. So
it's fun.
when did you start that?
Okay, so picture 2019, I go for a holiday, come back 2020. I come back and our family used to have a school on Kololo,
Okay.
Springdale's, shout out. If you have heard it, you've heard it, 15
Yes.
years. That was my mother-in-law's project. And when she passed on, I promise you guys, the woman in me was like, no, I cannot let another woman's dream die. But something happened in 2019, and as a business, I took the emotions out of it. As a business, we decided we do not want to continue with what life path I had in plan.
Okay.
So we gifted the school to the teachers, handed it over literally, lock, stock and barrel.
Oh wow.
But it was very emotional, so I took a trip. Came back with the kids. Okay? No regrets about that choice. Come 2020, I come in March 10th, we go into lockdown.
Yeah.
Now, for somebody who can't sit at home, okay? For somebody who's so driven, all my businesses were shut down.
Okay.
And I was just sitting there at home.
And like, what can I do?
And then I was like, what is the rest of the world doing? Oh, they're selling online. Oh, crap. We don't even have...
Everyone was figuring out how to go
do
online.
And it started with me just picking up a phone, coming up with a name, and started talking on Instagram Live. Businesses, are you doing this? Are you doing this? Are you doing this? And shout out to the first few hundred people who would come in there. And I can actually name, when your handles come up, I know who you are. So a big shout out to you and to all my like Ugandan girlfriends and friends and every follower. They used to ask me questions, and I realized I love doing this.
Okay.
You know, and you like absolutely love doing it. And they kept asking these questions, and I kept showing up, and I kept showing up.
And do you feel like you were, like, you know, because you're kind of all in the same boat as well?
Yes.
So you could relate on a different level than before COVID?
Slightly different. I realized that I had the skill sets, and I couldn't believe why we're not online. Why Ugandan businesses were not selling more online.
And you hadn't considered that before?
Yeah, because remember, I walked away from advertising because it was draining me as a mother. So I thought I'd close that chapter in my life.
Okay.
But deep down inside, I'm a serial entrepreneur, 3-4 businesses. So I was building, and every time in each business, I end up doing operations and marketing.
Okay.
I don't like finance. I'm the Muindi that doesn't know numbers. Y'all, it's true.
Seriously?
I'm so bad that my parents would have said something's wrong in the DNA. It's so bad that I had to lie to my child till he turned 10. He didn't know how bad I'm at numbers. I would just say, ask your father.
Yeah.
That's the only
Ask your
subject he
father.
teaches you. I was like, everything else mommy will do it. I want your father to be involved. You must ask your father.
Okay.
So I faked it, but I promise you, I don't enjoy it. Of course, as an entrepreneur, instinctively, I know what needs to be done. I understand profit margins. But guys, 10 years later, guess what I've been doing for the last 3 years with Bold and their cohorts, and shout out to them for working with women entrepreneurs. I teach sales and pricing.
Oh my gosh. So you can't run away from it?
You can't run away from being a Muindi and not knowing numbers. Sorry, I call it as it is, but it's true. I'm so bad that sometimes when I'm speaking to an accountant or an auditor, and if they're Indian, they're like, you don't know this? And I'm like, no. He's like, but madam, how have you run your business? I said, I don't know. Okay, guys, but jokes apart, they are successful. The business is okay.
Exactly. No, I feel like you're giving a lot of hope to a lot of people because you can't do everything. And I think there's a lot of pressure for anyone who's starting a business that you have to carry all the roles and you have to be good at everything. When the reality is you'll be great at some things and not so good at others. And sometimes you need to get help.
So I'll give you a quick connection to that. So remember when I told you 2019 we were doing this? I had actually joined an organization called Entrepreneurs Organization that I'm currently the president of.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs Organization, a quick shout out, is 18,000 members. There is a qualifying amount and it's in 76 countries.
Okay.
So like I go with the flow, I went with the flow. They said there's an event in South Africa. They'd given us this ticket. I was like, okay, fine, it's part of my membership. Fine, I'll do it. It is for high income entrepreneurs. Okay, so one of my businesses qualified. I said, let's do it. And I fly down, and you see, in Uganda, I had fallen into my little bubble and believed that this is my life and this is what I'm doing. In fact, we have a monthly forum, and when we met, the decision to close the school came from the fact that I created a network of entrepreneurs that I got shared experiences from, and I realized that closing or starting or doing something with a business must not be an emotional decision.
And a lot of people actually make emotional decisions.
Correct. So step one. Step two, it gave me the confidence of saying, I'm an entrepreneur, I need to figure it out. But you see, as women, our imposter syndrome is so strong that even when I joined the organization, sometimes I used to think, do I have enough to contribute? Do I really do anything? Because I was playing a full-time mother's role too. So for 10 years, my 30s, I spent thinking, I work, but do I? And I was like, I can't believe it. How did and I say I'm a feminist, when did this happen to me?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that our conditioning, being a mom, you sometimes forget who you are.
You do.
You're a firecracker. Go live your life. You forget it. So all of that, and in that journey, when EO helped me to understand this, and I went for B marketing, I said, I'm not going to look back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So emotional decisions, ladies especially.
Don't do it.
Oh my goodness, we're culprits of this. But I like what you said, like even thinking about Kona when you were in that slump, you were thinking, okay guys, I might need to close. And then it was a matter of having another burst of energy, something came into the picture. And that's the thing as well, the journey of life, but even the journey of business.
Absolutely.
They're the slumps where you really feel like you want to give up. And it's about hanging in there.
Yes.
Okay.
So if I can give you 2 tips. One, and that again with EO, I met men who were not great with finance too. And for the first time, I felt seen.
Sounds like you felt really guilty about that for a while.
Yeah, I did. Because think about it, you're an entrepreneur, you're supposed to know your P&L, your profit loss, your ins and outs. Instinctively, I know what my margins are. I understand that. But you see, when we were in school, I never liked math. So I had a script running, a limiting belief, and please, limiting beliefs are the worst. It's how you convince yourself you're not good at something. So I don't enjoy numbers, guys, jokes apart, but I'm not bad at them.
Okay. And you had just told yourself you were bad at them.
Yes. So that's a limiting belief.
Yes.
And secondly, the true journey of being an entrepreneur and not a business owner is recognizing that you don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You just need to hire the smartest person.
Exactly. So that's how you get your good accountants, you get your finance managers.
And I do what I love.
And someone, a couple of years ago, I remember having a conversation with someone, and they were saying some of the most successful business people in the world, it's all about instincts.
Yes.
It's not necessarily that you have these skills, but having instincts, you trust your instincts, and they guide you a lot of the time.
It's very true.
Not to say we just go,
Okay, it's also recognizing, and I've been reading up a lot more on this, is just recognizing I am left-brained. I'm also dyslexic, I think. But anyways, I'm the creative brain.
The creative side, yeah.
Then there is a whole bunch of people who are data, analytics, data driven.
Really
Even in
logical
marketing,
and-
very logical, very structured, systems, processes. If you do A, B, C, it should lead to D. And I am the person where you'll walk into my room and go, how does she even do what she's doing? But guess
Exactly.
what? There's a method behind my madness, and that system works for me.
Exactly.
Although now 10 years into the business, I'm trying to take on without guilt the systems and processes, adapting it to my style, because for scaling, you need systems and processes.
Absolutely. Okay. But that's the thing, the instinct, because sometimes you can see the big picture.
Yeah.
You know what can happen, but other people are like, and I think that's generally in life.
Yeah, but if you're right brain, you're definitely gut driven.
Yes.
Definitely gut driven. Like if you're creative brain, you're definitely gut driven. And instincts actually, you're so right, intuition as we call it, we underestimate the power of it. You know, like sometimes you get invited to a room and you start getting that weird feeling, but you're like, nah, I'll just go.
Or even before you go.
Yeah, I mean
And
before you enter the room.
room.
Yeah, you enter or you walk into something and it's like something doesn't feel right. I do a lot of meditation. I do a lot of journaling, especially now.
And
And
you said you're very spiritual.
I'm but more than spiritual, these are good habits for entrepreneurs. Because your brain is now looking for validation everywhere else. How can you tell me whether I'm successful or not? My success can only be defined by me. Maybe for you, your success is $1 million. Maybe for me, success is that I may make less than $1 million, but I'm in control of my time.
Yeah.
And I get to do what I love. That's my definition of success. So my biggest takeaway to all entrepreneurs is don't let somebody else define your success.
Okay. That's a nice reminder. It is a nice reminder because we can't all be the same. And I think in many ways we're told by the world that we must all, for example, I've said this so many times, not everyone is supposed to be in business. I don't think every single person
No.
out there is supposed to run a business, because who will work for, I mean, if you like, everyone has to be a boss, then how does that work?
Can I throw statistics at you and why I got into this? So when I started teaching online, right, guys, I like reading a lot. And then I recognized that Uganda is one of the most entrepreneurial countries in the world.
Yes.
We have the youngest population in the world. So first of all, kudos. We know how to start businesses.
Yes.
But here's the second statistic to you. More than 50% of those businesses get shut down in the first 2 years.
Exactly.
Why?
Very
Most-
few reach their third birthday, I think.
Why? What do you think is the reason?
Many people start businesses for the wrong reasons, I think, because you see someone else doing it. I feel that we have a copycat syndrome that is
Absolutely.
so huge in Uganda.
So huge. So one of the key reasons is starting a business, just opening your laptop and starting marketing, very easy. You can start a digital agency tomorrow. Do it. Now here's where the challenge comes in. So a lot of people say, oh, you're selling home decor? Seems like a great business. I'll do it.
I can do it too.
Right? Now, you did not make a business plan. If you do not have sales for 3 months, are you able to give rent? So when you make a business plan, you need to plan for at least the first year. You have to look at your finances for the first year. Yes, you can bootstrap. Bootstrap is keep adding and keep adding and keep adding. Now here, for 3 years I've taught creative entrepreneurs. Here's my challenge to you. Do you give yourself a salary from your business? Or do you use it as a piggy bank? If you give yourself a salary, you pay rent. Even if you're doing it from your home, give the home a small rent. So it will actually show you the actuals and the costs of running a business. Because you don't really have a
look at
realistic
those
pictures.
benefits. They're like, oh, but I don't have to pay rent. I don't have to pay utilities.
Yes.
But now if you want to scale or...
What happens is you were selling 5 dresses, now you're selling 50 dresses. Of course, you can't do it from home. You have to now get a garage. You were selling the dress for 100,000. Suddenly, you have to sell the dress for 200,000 because rent has come up, more tailors have come up, overheads have gone up. Now what?
Everything.
You just lost your immediate clientele who was willing to pay 100,000.
Yes.
But at 200,000, they think your head has gone bigger and you don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So the first few years in Kona, people would walk into the store and say, but this is too expensive. I can get a Kitenge dress for that much. And I'd always laugh and say, yes, but when you come back next year, I want to be here.
Right.
This is a shop.
And
I'm
that
not
is
selling
the
from my home.
challenge, right?
Yeah. So understanding that. And honestly, please, if you're a woman entrepreneur, I cannot stress enough. Reach out, DM me, whatever. I'm happy to answer those questions because that is our biggest challenge. And women empowerment in Uganda is so important because I feel like they are the ones that are raising the next generation.
Absolutely. But we can't forget the men.
No.
We can't forget the men.
I'm full respect for them.
I feel like in the last few years, a lot of conversations around empowering women. Every time I talk to the men in the room, they're like, but we're forgetting the boys,
shout out to all the good dads.
Men.
Shout out to all the dads. Some of my biggest mentors have been the men entrepreneurs. I'm not going to lie, and I'm so grateful for them. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm raising a boy. I cannot forget the men. I don't want him to feel sidelined from my daughter. No. I just mean that the fact is, at the grassroots level, women are very much, like kids, a lot of kids grow up in the villages and they're growing up with their parents. And so watch, if the mom knew how to manage the finances or run her farming business better, you're already empowering the kids.
If you look at the traditional dynamic, it was always that a woman would support a man in whatever he does, whether it's in business, whether he's employed, whether he's farming.
Absolutely.
So we just need
the balance.
Yes.
We need a balance. Nothing, not too extreme of the men, not too extreme of the women. Equal opportunity is what I say.
Yeah. But also the reality is a lot of mothers are raising their children.
Yes.
And not to say men don't take care of their kids. There's some good fathers out there, like
I said, shout out to all of them.
To the good fathers, but many fathers aren't involved. And women have no choice. If you are a mother, you must do whatever you need to do.
So let's put it in world statistics. It's not about Uganda. You know what? Let's take our opinion back. Let's say world statistics. Do you know that about, I think 30 or 40% of women dropped off from the workforce? And if US passes the new bill that they're about to pass, because there's something what I call is invisible stress, invisible workload. Do you know what invisible workload is? And it's not us, it's just the way the society is built. I'm not blaming the men or the women, and shout out if the men are supporting on that, but invariably we're talking statistics. Remove the emotions out of it. Statistics show that it is women who end up doing the childcare.
It is what it is.
Okay. You have to think about what you're going to feed your kids, what you're going to. So now, when you're at work, you're making this amazing presentation, guilty of doing it. You're doing marketing, in your head you're looking at you just do this, it's 12 o'clock, has the driver left to pick up the kids? Or is somebody going to pick up my kids? Is the nanny home? Should I call her? My son had fever. Oh my God. That is called an invisible workload. And guess what? Women have it more than men. I'm not saying it, science is saying it, statistics is saying it. So entrepreneurship actually helps women to be in control of time. We call it financial freedom.
Okay.
I am very well educated, but I'm guilty of something. And I'll own it. You see, and I didn't even realize I was doing it till recently. And I'm not very proud, but I'll own it. When I was earning money and I let my father guide me. Okay? After that, I let my partner guide me.
Yes.
I let the men in my life guide me, which is okay for guidance, but I didn't learn to do many of those tasks. I didn't learn how to invest really well. Beyond buying land and growing something on it, I'm talking about in the international sense, like, investing in mutual funds or investing in this. I don't know how to do it. I didn't know till this year. I've changed that. I've recognized my problem. So anyways, and I realized that a lot of women are guided
by the men in their lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. But what happens is, because we have this invisible workload, we tend to say, you can handle this for me.
Exactly. Now, we trust and we rely on.
Correct. And I'm going to share a personal story. When my father passed away, my mom was left in the lurks because she didn't have clue about the business. And that is what my wake-up call was. It's a personal story that was a wake-up call. And I realized I didn't know what my father was doing. Like, I had started my own life, so I didn't know about his businesses and what was going on and whatever. So long story short is, if you're working together, please talk to each other. Be very clear about what the accounts are, where are you invested, because if the primary financial decision maker is not in the picture for whatever reason, it can affect the very education and the very fabric of your life.
Absolutely. I was actually heading in that direction. I've had so many conversations and so many of my interviews, and nearly every story is the same. Our father passed away. Right. Everything changed.
Yes.
The mother had no idea
exactly
how to run the business. Unfortunately, in many cases, relatives come in and take everything away.
Whatever
they don't care about the
exactly.
children, and because a woman is not empowered, she's not involved. Life just completely
correct. So the shout out when I say I'm supporting women entrepreneurs, guys, most of my agency clients are male. So it's not like I'm doing that. What my intention to say this is that when I get online, or I've gone with her working women, I've done talks there, I've done talks with Bold for creativepreneurs. I've been invited to many places to speak to women. And I'll tell you the most common problem. One, either their income is supplemented and they look at their own business. And when I call them out, this is what I tell them. So if you're in my talks, you'll hear it. But it said, I'm like, is it an expensive hobby or is it a real business?
Is it a passion project or is it really a business?
And by the time we're done, because we're talking about sales and pricing, I have to get very real. And most women just nod their heads and they're like, yeah, I think it's an expensive hobby right now. I said, but it can be changed tomorrow. Now, what are we going to do to change that?
Yeah.
Right? Having that conversation.
Yeah.
Calling it out. Owning your sin. I own my stuff. Yes. Like I said, I have a master's degree, I have a post-graduation diploma, like I'm well educated. I have lived on my own in Dubai. In that phase, I remember doing a lot of my financial decisions on my own. But I noticed that when I became a mom and I started leaning on my family, I let my family say, okay, I will just do this. I'm like, yeah, because the invisible workload felt like, oh man, that's one less thing I have to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you to do some of the boring tasks. Do you have your insurance policies? Do you know if your house is insured? Are you insured? Do the kids have a medical insurance? Learning about those small things.
If you were to lose your job today, tomorrow, your partner.
What is your savings about?
Yes.
Right? And any business you're running, if you have started it, go back to the drawing board, put few things down in place. Have a 1-year business plan. Like just have it. Start giving yourself a salary. It can be 100,000. We all started somewhere. Include the fact that there are overheads like rent and even mobile money that you spend on calling clients.
Yes.
Put it there and then cost your product.
It's so funny when you talk about give yourself a salary. I know so many people who don't.
They don't.
They don't. So that when you said, is it an expensive hobby? I mean, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're not paying yourself.
Yeah, because what you're doing otherwise is, and you go in there, you are selling some things. Now you have a need. You pulled it out of the business. So what did you do? You cut off the legs of your business.
Yeah.
True?
Yeah.
So you do that. Then if you don't do that, what you do is you're eating your capital. Because you're supposed to take a salary, then you know exactly how much you invested 100,000. You sold something, so you now have 150,000. Your needs can't be 150,000. Your needs have to be within 20,000. So the next original 100,000 plus 30,000 can now make 2 pieces. So you can scale and you can scale and you can scale. I give workshops on this and that's how I explain to them in detail. Of course, this is a quick chat, so but you get what I'm saying.
Yes, I do. I mean, even in terms of what you're saying, that invisible workload, which is especially when you become a mother. That's why in the corporate world, for the longest time, women were never the ones who would put themselves up for promotion. Exactly. They're always like, oh, you find, and I've heard this again and again, a man will apply for a position even if he does not have, I don't know, 70% of the requirements. A woman will have 70%.
She will only apply if it's 90%.
Exactly.
Actually.
She's like, no. Yes. And I guess that's a big part of it.
Yes. And the second thing that we deal with is a shout out to all the corporate women and all the women out there, whether you're doing anything. What's your personal brand? Yours is fantastic. What's your personal brand?
Thank you.
The first thing I do is, if you're doing anything work related, are you on LinkedIn? Or is crickets and birds are shitting in the LinkedIn page? Guys, what's happening?
Yeah.
Today, why I'm here is because I got out of my comfort zone. I started talking online, I started doing those things, and I recognized I really want to do this. Now, if I really want to do this, Crystal came to the shop for shopping, and she said, oh, I have a YouTube channel. I was like, Crystal, when can I get on it? I'm going to own it. I did it. And I love what your brand stands for. So your brand is what attracted me to you. And I talk about branding in that sense
and
all the
it's so
time.
important.
Yes.
Most people 10 years down the road, they're like, oh, now is when I'm trying to figure out my brand. And yet you start from the beginning.
Yes. Have you noticed that even your personal Instagram, it's not about the posted pictures or just memes or just dogs and cats and uncles' cats and whatever. And your kids, be careful of how you post your kids online.
Absolutely.
They have not asked for this life. So unless you have permission, my children have not given me permission. They have chosen. They said, when we want to do it, we'll let you know, but kindly don't post us. They're 13 and 10. And yes, in my house, they have a right to say that, because 20 years from now, when I'm dead, they'll be on the internet forever.
It's funny. I had this conversation recently with someone else who'd also, she had been posting her children and then she decided to stop because she thought about, the long-term
Yeah.
consequences. You're putting your child's life out there. They need to be fully aware. They need to be comfortable. And even how.
And why the spotlight on them?
Mm-hmm.
Why? You are choosing a public life.
Yeah.
They didn't sign up for it.
That's
Maybe
a
you have an
tricky one,
introverted child.
especially in a world today where people feel that they have to put content out constantly.
You don't. I don't talk about my family. I do not talk about my personal life. If I share something online, it's usually something I'm comfortable sharing.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get caught in the trap of, I just need to post something. I actually don't post when I go out or I'm out with my girlfriends once in a while, little bit here and there. And there's a way I actually put a filter and I hide it, and I talk about what I learned from there or what I want to refer to, but I don't really expose.
That awareness is missing for so many people, and
Happy
we
to
really
explain
need
that.
to talk about it.
We're happy to have a separate conversation on that, absolutely.
Because even now, I mean, just think about being in a public place at any point in time, and many times, I guess you don't think you're doing this, but you just start doing a live, and you haven't thought about other people in this restaurant or in this public place that have not
Or listening
consented
to
to be
on loud without speakers. Have you?
Yeah.
Please tell me what you think about that, Crystal, because I really need to know.
That drives you mad. Huh? So there's so many things that we do and we're not conscious about the fact that our actions involve others, especially if we're in a public place.
Can I give mothers a simple tip, if that's okay?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's happened with me. It takes a village to raise your kids, and I have the most amazing staff that helps me be. I am here today because my nanny is helping me or somebody else is helping me, and I'm very grateful for them. But there was a phase where I had a very young nanny, and we all go through the nanny issues or whatever.
Oh, yes.
And I found her making TikToks from within my home.
Ooh.
And I had a very serious conversation, and she couldn't fathom why I was so upset.
Mm-hmm. She couldn't understand it.
Yes. And then we sat down and I explained to her, I said, here, this is my Instagram page. How many times have I posted my whole living room?
Your home is private unless you choose.
Not only that,
to
guys,
share it.
think about security.
Yeah.
You're geotagging yourself.
I can relate. We had a housekeeper and I found her Facebook page and she had pictures in the living room as well. But she was standing on the coffee table. In my mind, I'm like, in all the pictures, she was standing on the coffee table. I was like, okay. But no one else has seen what the inside of my home looks like. If I do, I'm very strategic about
Yes,
what
it's
I
a corner
show.
wall, white
Yeah.
wall, or blurred background. Agreed. And guess what? It's my home. I pay the rent for it. I do everything for
And
it.
she didn't understand
Yes.
what the issue was.
Yes. So that was one thing. Then, your kids go for classes, your golf teacher, whatever. Have you noticed of recent, everybody just takes a video of tipping. They are making content for their Instagram. So my kid was doing one of the lessons and the person sent me a picture of my child playing. Now you would think, Bhavya, why is this a problem? It's a problem because he didn't ask me for permission. I trust you, I send somebody along, and that day I was not there for the lesson. Usually I go for the lesson, but I wasn't there for the lesson. I didn't ask for the proof. But guess what? He or she sent you the picture, but that picture is in their phone forever. If the phone gets stolen, or it ends up in the wrong hands, or if it ends up on the wrong media, you have no control over the narrative.
Yeah.
So that's a problem too. So even when I take pictures with staff, I actually ask them, do you want a picture with this? Then when I take their picture, I actually send it to them and I delete it. Because we went up country and my whole team came with me and we were at the Murchison Falls, for example. I was like, do you want pictures? Man, I'm making content. I'll take your pictures. And they're like, yeah, they all pose very nicely. We took the pictures. But it's about showing them that you have agency over your own life, your own images, and you've got to respect the boundary both ways.
The boundary. But also, what is the intention behind it? What is the intention? Because I also find that, especially now that we're talking about children, a lot of people take pictures of children at school in their uniforms, and
So
that's
they
a security risk.
Thank you.
You should never post anything that has clear locations unless, for example, we're at a location like this. But something that can lead someone directly to your home, something that shows where your children are, what school they're in.
So
we don't think about
pages,
that.
Exactly. So your personal pages, your personal brand, if you're doing anything professional, can reflect that. So if you're into fashion, sure, talk about fashion tips. If you're into a corporate world and you're talking about communications, make sure that you put some content out there that is not just a beautiful setting and a cake cutting, and like use that page, use that platform to become who you are, and at the same time be careful
Yeah.
what else you're putting on there, because guys, it's not fair to the kids. And I mean,
and
the
they
worst
say once
conversation,
it's out there, once
there
it's on the
forever.
internet.
And by the way, I've tried it. I can tell you, stuff is there forever.
Yeah.
Like if you, there's something called back searching. So if you take one image and you back search, you'll find the rest.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
And
But
I
this
don't
is
know.
all part of the branding again, right?
Marketing, digital marketing. So it taught me, made me very aware. My son only got a phone when he's 13. Recently.
My son
But guess
doesn't have a
what?
phone, and I'm the same.
Yes.
Actually, I'm fighting it.
Yes. And I'll tell you one of the challenges. I had to sit him down and have the conversation. And trust me, the birds and bees conversation is not what you're thinking anymore. It's more like, don't send anybody a photo. Don't ask somebody for their photo.
Ooh, okay.
Our kids use, if you don't know this, your kids probably use Snapchat.
Yeah,
Snapchat is tricky. It's all about photos.
it is. Actually, someone was saying to me that, in the past you'd freak out when you'd lose your phone, because like, at the end of the day, what are the most sentimental things? Your gallery. You're thinking about, oh, my pictures, my videos. But a lot of the younger people now, they're like, I have Snapchat. It's fine, because everything is still there.
Yes.
Whatever you post, whatever, yes, even your drafts.
It's there. And at the same time, I use it as a security thing. Everything is on the cloud. Everything is on the cloud. So yes, sometimes your phone can be unlocked and the cloud can be hacked. It's not like it can't. But please set up your 2-point security pins and everything. And how many celebrities in Uganda, how many high profile people who have worked so hard to create their content, however they got there, okay? Got to respect the fact that they got their 50,000 followers and they work for it and they show up and they do whatever, and then you go and hack. It happened to Mona once, long back.
We've seen it with so many people.
Right?
Yeah, but the two-step verification, it's not difficult to do. It's not hard.
Of course, I mean,
Well,
there are things that can go wrong, and I'm not saying it's your fault that it went wrong, but do your best to make sure that it can't go wrong.
yeah.
What do you think? Like, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you work hard. Like, imagine if somebody took the password to your YouTube, you'd like,
No, someone tried to
Oh, wow.
hack into my Instagram, I do remember, but because of the security
Yeah.
checks I had in place, I was able to go in quickly and change my password. But I remember just the heart attack I was having at that point in time, and then it had happened to many other people.
Yeah.
But because of those small things. at least
yeah.
I
And
would-
by the way, your password is held hostage. I'm not kidding.
Okay. So you've talked about, your identity as a mom and how it's not that it takes away from you, but I guess it's something that you have to be very intentional about,
Yes.
especially as an entrepreneur. Like you said, for you, your time is important. How you
Very.
manage your time is important. So I guess it's very hard for you to see yourself sitting at a desk, the 8 to 5, the traditional 8 to 5.
I don't think guys, I think I'm ruined. I won't make a good employee. I think the business owner will be like, listen, just go home. It's not who you are, guys.
Work from home.
Yeah. No.
So what are your thoughts on, how the world is changing now, especially as a business owner?
So I'm going to put 2-3 things into perspective for that. One, you will really want to know if you're giving up trading money for time. Because remember, in the same time, you could earn a lot more. Okay, so I'm going to just request you to go on this journey with me, Crystal. Do you know what you would like to charge hourly for yourself?
Okay.
Give me a figure. Throw me a figure.
Hourly?
Let's role play. So give me a number.
Okay, $200, let me say.
So that's roughly 700,000 shillings. Okay. So Crystal says, if you want to deal with me for 1 hour, that's worth my time. Now here, let me put it for you. You go grocery shopping sometimes?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
All the time.
So you go for traffic. Then you enter the grocery store.
Yes.
Then somebody probably pisses you off or meet somebody and then you waste your time. Right?
Or you go around looking for parking.
Yeah, or something. Me. This is just a choice I made. So I looked at my life like that, and I looked at my staff and I said, great, you know what? You're in charge of grocery shopping. Every month we can go through the list. And I train them. By the way, I spent a lot of time training them, showing them the products I like or we use in the family. Plus, I added a bonus of saying, you buy what you need for yourself.
Okay.
So it's part of my grocery list. You get your stuff, I get my stuff. You go grocery shopping. I just earned 2 hours of my life back.
So you've given yourself some freedom.
Yes.
Okay.
Second thing, my kids' school is quite far from my home currently. It can be the whole round trip can be 2 hours, or anywhere between 1 hour to 2 hours. So in the morning,
with the
when
traffic
you
we have now,
correct. So morning 2 hours like there. So if I go in the afternoon, remember we have to pick up our children 2:33 max. So you have just started your work after coming back, showering, doing everything, 9 to 2. Now it's time to pick up your car and go pick up your kid. So that's 2 hours gone. Instead, so I gained, you see, I looked at my life and I said I just gained 2 hours here, 2 hours from the pickup time, but I finish work at 3:34 and I go home with them. So I may not be the one
and
picking
you can
them.
be home and present.
And when I'm with them, it's not like I still want to do other things. Yes, it happens. I'm an entrepreneur. This last 2-3 months I've been very bad at that. And I recognize them, but I also apologize to them. I said, I know, it's just that I'm trying to shift a few things, but I'm very mindful and I acknowledge my mistake to them that, hey guys, I'm doing some things that is a big change in my life and I'm taking this time away from you, but I'm available. If there's something important, I will stop doing what I'm doing and I'm going to be with you.
Okay.
But you know what's the most beautiful thing I heard, and not $1 million can be worth it, is every day at 4 when my girl comes running. So I go home and I start working from home. She's like, where's mom?
Yes.
And then one of these days I told her, listen, I have to go for a meeting. And she's like, where are you going? Why weren't you home when I came home? And I was like, I thought it didn't matter. You guys don't need me anymore. You're so much older. They're like, and my son walks in and he's 13 and he's almost 6 foot. And you know that gentle giant says, but I like knowing that you're home. I was like, oh God. Guys, so I'm not regretting my decision.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons I left radio. I left when I did back in the day because...
Why was that?
My show would end at 7 p.m. Center of town. Traffic would mean sometimes I couldn't even leave until 8:39. I'd come back home every day. They were in bed, asleep.
Right.
So being able to leave, reclaim my time, I'm home every evening. Same thing. They come home and mommy is normally there. And if I'm not there, where were you?
Yeah. Where do you have to go? But you never go out in the evenings. I was like, guys, I do go out sometimes. You make me look like I only live on my couch.
It's not just me. But I guess with life, you know, priorities change as well. But being present in your kids' lives is something that we have to be very careful
right?
about. You have
and
to
the
protect.
second thing. What if I told you only have 18 summers with your children?
Okay.
And now look at every decision you make. Because guess what? How much of our culture, Indian and Ugandan and African culture, is very similar. Families, very close knit. We look after our elders. We are responsible. And I get all of that. But we are the generation that also feels like, while I want to do everything for everyone else, I want to do something for myself. We all have that feeling,
Yes,
right?
yes.
We're human. I feel like, okay, at 18, I have to let the bird fly out of the nest.
They're
going to make their career choices. They're going to find partners, not find partners, their decision. But they're going to have a life. After 18, the time I will get from them is a privilege.
Yeah.
And that is why if I give them 18 summers and I build that relationship, it should... Do you sometimes have some relatives where you're like, oh, I don't want to go? Come on, we all do. We all do. Why? Because there's no relationship.
Yeah. Okay.
So
what I'm hearing is how important it is to quantify your time. And most people don't even think about it. And that's why you get to a point in life where you're suddenly like, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. Oh my God, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Yeah. Because you haven't taken the time to slow down and say, okay, where is my time going?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I'm becoming very mindful of that. Recently got invited for a chat, talk. And I literally, first I would have just said yes. Because remember, I'm trying to grow my brand. I get it. I'm hustling too. And I was shocked when I said, I need to know the time. The morning slot works for me. But if you expect me to be there the whole day, I cannot. Because it's a Saturday and I have to be home.
Yeah.
Or do whatever I need to do with my children, but it's my time.
Oh, wow. I feel like we can relate so well. I think I did tell someone Saturday mornings I can't.
So
I can't,
and
I don't take jobs, I don't take gigs Saturday morning because that's my children's time.
Right? Or you can say that, okay, because this was really important, it's going to have a huge impact. It's talking to a whole bunch of university students about fashion, and it's got the whole angle of which I'm really passionate about. I want to help at the grassroots level. So I understand the larger purpose. It's a bigger purpose than me. And I said, okay, you can have me till 11, but at 11 I walk out because the kids can hang around at home with their grandparents, do what they need to do. At 11, I want to go do some activity with them.
Yeah.
You know? And that is one thing. And the second thing, my father helped me understand this when I was getting out of the corporate world.
Okay.
And I was thinking of being an entrepreneur. And I actually fought. I didn't want to ever be an entrepreneur, guys. Ever.
Wait, what?
You see, I grew up in an entrepreneur.
Wait.
Yeah.
Because you said you left the job and then that's when you started your first business.
Yeah, but it was not, it didn't happen naturally, the first business. I fought it because I grew up in a business family. And in a business family, you learn that money comes, it goes, it comes, it goes, it comes. And there was instability. And that is why I had a whole corporate career.
Okay.
And I kept fighting, and my father kept laughing. Bless his soul, he must be laughing right now that I'm talking about it. He said, it's in your DNA. Don't fight it. It's in your DNA. Don't fight it. And then I remember going to his office once, and I think I was still postpartum, guys. I was sitting with a baby in my hand and howling my eyes out in his office, in his cabin. And I was like, you guys, you want me to do this? How can I do this? How can, what will happen to my baby?
Yeah,
and
just had a baby.
Yeah, like la 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 la. And he looked at me and he said, I hear you, but it is who you are, Bhavya. And he was a very deep thinker. And he's like, it is who you are, Bhavya. You're going to be somebody who's going to work, face it. And I was torn, guys. I was torn as a mother. And then he told me a beautiful thing. He said, my dad didn't know which year of university I was in. Quick story is, I'm sitting in the car. He's like, so in 2-3 years, you'll be done with college. I was like, Dad, it's the last year.
Oh my God. Okay.
So he was very much the patriarchal setup. He's earning. My mom was.
I think
fine.
a lot of fathers.
Yeah, it's fine. But he was very involved in who we were as value system.
Okay.
Education, he's like, you're smart, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, he always said, go figure it out. So anyways, I'm sitting there, he's like, remember I used to travel most of the month. I said, true. He said, do you not respect me? I said, that's not true. He's like, do you not have a bond with me? Believe you guys, that was my best friend. I went to my dad to tell him that I have a boyfriend, not my mom. So, yeah. My best friend. I said, that's not true. I have a great relationship with you. He said, yeah. But I never had time. I was traveling 25 days a month. So I said, yeah, that's true. You were always gone. It was mom in charge. What happened? He said, if you have 20 minutes with your children, make them count.
Yes.
It's not 20 hours.
Quality of time versus quantity of time.
And when you're with them, be there. Make sure they understand what your values are and you understand them. And he said, I only had 20 minutes with you, but we're fine. I was like, stop being cocky. But yes, you're fine. You're fine.
That's a nice way to give you perspective, huh?
Yeah. And trust me, my dad was never home. He traveled a lot. He was the entrepreneur. In fact, when we were growing up, he had come here in 92. So my dad was here when my brother was born. I'm not even kidding. He had to fly back emergency because my brother was a preemie. So like what I'm trying to tell you is like my dad was literally not there.
So you did a good job.
Great job.
Okay. Well, I know we need to wrap up. So you talked about, it was just COVID time, really, that you started doing Instagram Lives, really, and started putting yourself out there. But I know you've built your platform. So now, where would someone go to find you?
Be Marketing Coaches, and you can put the handle there. I can tell you guys. Go follow it. I have put a lot of free content out there. I talk about systems, processes, business foundations, marketing, branding, because I'm a business and a marketing coach. I talk about everything you need as a small business owner, and I'll leave you with this. If you're not using social media marketing to grow your business, it's like you've been given marketing for free and you're not doing it. Because social media marketing doesn't cost you anything. Get a smartphone.
And it's there for everyone.
Make it happen. Make it happen. Only thing you have to do is learn how to do it. And find yourself a mentor or somebody in your network who can actually help you understand how to scale your business. If you know one successful business owner, talk to them. Don't go with the idea of copying the idea, but talk to them. I know there's a lot of gatekeeping. Culturally, we gatekeep. People don't share their stories. But guess what? Ask me a question online and I'll answer it.
Okay. I'd like to wrap up with, I think, a quote I saw on one of your platforms. You said you found yourself when you lost control?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
That's another take. The short version.
I'm sorry, I just remembered it and I was like, oh wow, that's such a powerful thing to say.
Long story short, 1 minute story. The doctor broke my jaw. Yes, literally. Long story, we will not get into it. And that's when I realized that I had no control over anything. And when I started looking into the fact that we try to control such silly things, that I started finding what is my purpose? What is it that I want to be known for? What is it that I'm contributing to life? If I cannot leave a room happier than I found it, or kinder than I found it, then I don't want to be in that room.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
for
much.
coming and joining me. Even though she suggested, I was already going to ask you. Let me just put that out there.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes, but it was such a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for just being open to share what you know, what you've been through, and your passion for others.
I hope it comes through, and I hope to see some of you there.
Mm-hmm.
So done.